I'm Alex Pault, editor-at-large for Microwaves and RF, and today we're going to talk about some Internet of Things infrastructure with Vinka Hieseman. He's the CEO, actually, of the Things Industries, which is one of the largest LoRa, which is the bandwidth we're going to be talking about today. The LoRa Internet of Things infrastructure band. It used to be the old television VHF band, and once TV went digital, they turned it over as a license-free band to the community to use for Internet of Things infrastructure. And the Things Industries has seized on it quite well, haven't they, Vinka? Glad to have you here.
Thanks for having me, Alex. Always nice to talk to you, and always nice to be on your channels.
Well, the pleasure is mine. But you know, I was half joking, but the Things Industries has done a great deal to expand the industry within the LoRa ecosystem, right?
Yeah. So we at the Things Industries help companies all around the world building LoRaWAN solutions through our cloud services and software. And basically, a LoRaWAN solution consists of a low power sensor that can last in a few years, a simple gateway, and then a cloud service that brings the data to your application in the cloud. So that's the kind of anatomy. What we've done in the Internet of Things is that we've focused on a developer-first approach. What we saw is that the LoRaWAN market is massively fragmented, and you need to kind of have a lot of different systems integrators with a lot of different capabilities to make different sensors and different solutions. So we've always been in this market as a developer first and API first player, and this results now that on our platform we have 1.5 million devices all across the world, and we're solving or our customers are solving a lot of different problems, like monitoring mines and doing condition monitoring in mines in Chile, to air tags for cattle in New Zealand where they wander in open fields. So it's a very exciting challenge, what we see in Internet of Things. And we have a global developer ecosystem, which we call the Things Network, of 200,000 developers across the world. And they come together once a year at the Things Conference, where you all will also be, and you're kind of like one of the standard analysts that's always there. I'm very thankful for you to spend your time with us every year. So this is happening. So exciting times in Internet of Things and in our LoRaWAN niche.
Well, I'm looking very much forward to participating in this year's Things Network event. And as you pointed out, I will be one of the guest moderators. I'll be interviewing some of the booth companies that are exhibiting there and showing off their wares, as it were. We're going to highlight a lot of them in a real-time live stream, right?
Yeah, that's always going to be exciting. So we're going to have around 75 partners, and they all have their specific story. And they're all solving different problems. And what we try to do with our user conference is be a bit tough on the people that speak there, because they when you go and speak on behalf of a company, you naturally come with the agenda of a company, and then you sometimes are not really addressing the audience. We have a very strict kind of set of rules on what you should tell, so we don't ask people to tell a lot about themselves, not about their company. Or what people think is interesting is, what is the problem of your customer and how did you solve it? And then if you kind of like focus on that, you see that you can actually have your story in 10 minutes, and then you just tell to your audience that they can learn about you on their LinkedIn and learn about their company on their website, but kind of specifically the customer's problem and how did they come up with the solution and which tools did they use. That's why people are drawn to the Things Conference, because we from the start been very strict in that. And it's an exciting time, because the IT industry is filled with question marks. There is a lot of kind of moving parts. You see that large cloud operators are kind of moving back out of IoT. They're stopping their IoT investments. So there's this kind of consolidation, or more kind of, I would rather call it kind of, it's a survival of the fittest at the moment. You see that with now the investments being pulled back, that it's really clear who can survive on their own. And that's a great test for the IoT industry, and it will generate quite a good kind of consolidation where you will see what sticks. And I think that's also what you will see at the Things conference this is not this industry will end up with a certain set of technology that will survive after a decade of kind of an industry that has been throwing every thinkable technology at the market. So it's a nice way to learn kind of what sticks and what doesn't.
Well, and not to mention, Vinka, the fact that the industry needs a unifying organization. I mean, I recognize that there is an alliance, an official organization, but you need a user organization. You need the people involved need to ensure that their systems are interoperable. And I'm really looking forward to seeing the kind of solutions they're going to be presenting at the event.
Yeah, no, definitely. And we are kind of famous for what we call the LoRaWAN device wall of fame. And we're going to have a LoRaWAN solution wall of fame. But this gives kind of you a very clear overview what's there in the market, what's there in the field, like what's out there. We don't put proof of concepts on there. These are kind of working solutions. And that has become a kind of like a centerpiece of the conferences. You come there and then you get this kind of instant overview of who are the players, what are the solutions they're creating, what are the business cases they're executing, and that's a lot of fun. And it's also kind of like a lot of like-minded people coming together. So the party is always also kind of a big part of the experience. And Amsterdam is an awesome place, right? Like it's great to get into. Yeah. So it's a great place. So it's nice. So it's a way to celebrate our successes, but also be very mindful that 80% of the IoT market, and if your IoT projects fail. So it's a bit of both, right? Like it's really kind of embracing that 20% that goes well and learning from that and how to repeat that, but also say, hey, like we need to improve as an industry. We need to do. So yeah, we the Things industries are super happy that we are in this kind of situation, and we've created a strong, profitable company to be this what you're saying, this kind of company that takes up this ecosystem responsibility to create such an event where everybody feels welcome, and you can come to share your successes, but also your failures.
Well, we learn from those, don't we? I'm looking very much forward to seeing you there, Vinka. We've unfortunately run out of time, so I have to let you go. But if you have a final thought, you can leave it with the audience.
No, it's 21st, 22nd of September. And I'm very much looking forward to meet you again and to talk to you. And I'm very thankful that you're hosting one of the interview stages. So yeah, I'm just very much looking forward to the event.
Me too, Vinka. You take care of yourself, my friend.
Yeah, same to you. Thanks.